Let's work our way down until we find the next longest active streak. It's
Okay.
not in the thousands.
Weit.
It's not nearly 800 or 700. Still not even close at 500.
Drei, 2, 1. Moment und Hallo, Tada und Tusch. Herzlich willkommen zu einer neuen Reaction. Und zwar, will anyone ever break LeBron's scoring record? Der Mann hat, den Rekord gebrochen. Es ist auch schon ewig wieder her, ne? Schon wieder 2 Monate oder so.
Auch even wäre nicht falsch gewesen, so als Wort, ja.
So. Dann wollen wir mal reingucken vom Jimmy High Roller, von dem haben wir schon einige Videos geguckt. Ein Mann, der sehr stat-verliebt ist. Gehen wir rein.
1,410 games. 53,742 minutes, 27,829 shots, and nearly 20 years later, LeBron James has scored more points than anyone else in NBA history. Once believed to be an unbreakable record, broken. And with LeBron still going strong, one can only wonder where this score.
Nicht so eine gute Aussage, nachdem er sich dann irgendwie 4-mal hintereinander verletzt hat. Ich meine, es war nicht so schlimm wie bei Kevin Durant, der beim Aufwärmen, wo sein Knöchel sich einfach gesagt hat, nö, fick dich.
Oder Dingsenbumsen halt hier, ne? Sag schon, ich komme nicht drauf, nicht Stephen, sondern Clay, der halt einfach auch eine ganze Saison nicht spielt, die Hälfte der anderen Saison nicht, dann 3 Spiele spielt gefühlt und wieder sagt,
geht nicht.
Scoring record could end up, and if LeBron's new record will ever be broken. And I know, every time a record is broken, that new mark becomes the unbreakable record, only to be broken years later, just like all the ones that came before it. But will LeBron's scoring record truly be an unbreakable one? And if not, who could possibly be the player to do it?
Ist ja so lustig, wenn sein Sohn es täte.
Stell dir vor. Steht da einfach Nummer 1.
Einfach degradiert.
Steht da einfach Scoring List, LeBron James Jr. Platz 2, LeBron James Senior.
James.
Today's video is brought to you by HelloFresh.
Wir gönnen natürlich.
Ja, macht es. Wenn ihr einen Code habt, nutzt nur noch diesen für den Rest eures Lebens.
Ich würde ja HelloFresh
gar nicht scheiße.
Wenn ich nicht zuvor wäre zum Kochen.
Das geht. Steffi hat das eine Weile, also meine Frau, gemacht. Das war ganz cool. Es war halt für uns so als 4-Familienhaushalt dann irgendwann relativ teuer.
Ja,
aber
kann ich mir vorstellen. Ja, das richtet sich halt auch mehr an Leute, halt an Single-Haushalte auf jeden Fall.
Ja, und ist aber gut zuzubereiten, so dann eigentlich. Also auch für die faulen Köche unter uns ist das eigentlich ganz cool. Das mache ich wirklich Werbung für die, weil die okay waren.
Wenn ich den Punkt erreicht habe wie mein Bruder. Mein Bruder hat letztens so zu mir gesagt, Hannes, frisst du eigentlich immer noch Tiefkühlfraß? Ich so, was soll ich dir sagen? So, was anderes kann ich mir halt nicht leisten. Er so, mach dir keine Sorgen. War bei mir die ersten 2 Jahre aus und danach irgendwann kannst du es nicht mehr sehen und dann musst du anfangen zu kochen, weil es nicht anders geht.
Also so gesehen, es kommt halt auf die Massen an, ne? Wenn du selber kochst, kannst du wesentlich günstiger rauskommen als von den ganzen Tiefkühlen. Aber du musst dann halt, ne, größere Mengen und länger davon essen und so.
Richtig.
Will you have to go to the store and struggle to find specific ingredients that you don't have readily available at the house? Because HelloFresh's pre-portioned ingredients and easy-to-follow recipe cards mean you can get
das ist halt das Chillige, dass du dir da alles reinpacken, was du brauchst.
on the table without all the time-consuming meal planning or prepping. And right now, HelloFresh has a killer deal going on to help you get started. Just go to HelloFresh.com and use code JimmyHighRoller65 for 65% off plus free shipping. That's HelloFresh.com.
Aber auch nur für die ersten 3 Monate.
Ja. Meistens das oder so Knebelverträge über 12 oder so.
Ja, und danach RIP.
Danach kannst du es nicht mehr kochen, weil du dir die Strom- und Gasrechnung nicht verlässt kannst.
Ach du Scheiße.
Aber wie weit sie waren.
Ich erinnere mich gerade. Das ist kein Spiel für Schwarze, das ist ein Spiel für ehrliche, weiße Leute. Weiß ich jetzt nicht.
So schlecht. So schlecht. Nicht gut gealtert.
Nee. Most sports fans would rather witness Ted Williams hit dingers than sit in a hot gym and watch a bunch of guys get their cardio in. But even in its infancy, the NBA still came down to that one thing: scoring. And in 1947, no one could score the ball better than this guy, Joe Fulks. the NBA's first bucket getter. With unshakable confidence and a silky smooth jump shot, Joe became the first record holder for the most points in an NBA career.
7000 Punkten.
2021. But Joe's record wouldn't last thanks to a young and up-and-coming talent by the name of George Mikan. In 1952, George Mikan would surpass Joe's scoring record and become the first NBA player to surpass 10,000 career points. 5 digits.
Weil es nicht eben mal so 300 mehr, ne?
Nee.
Sondern 3000.
Vor allen Dingen, er hat da halt eine. Also, das soll jetzt nicht glücklich, aber er hat halt eine Karriere für gebraucht, wofür andere heutzutage, keine Ahnung.
Ja.
Lass sie dafür 6, 7 Jahre, wenn die wirklich fast jedes Spiel spielen und 20 Punkte pro Spiel machen.
Ja, klar.
Historic milestone for the league, but it would only be 2 seasons after Mikan's retirement that his record would also fall. This time to the all-time great talent of Dolph Schayes in 1958.
Wer kennt ihn nicht?
Would go on to hold the record for
Irgendwann
6
kommt auch noch der
years
Glitch.
and elevate the total to over 18,000 career points.
Guck mal, der hat auch einfach 8000 Punkte mehr gemacht.
Ja.
But Dolph's time as the NBA's leading scorer was a brief one, because in 1964, just 1 season before retiring, the great Bob Pettit eclipsed Shay's previous record and became the first NBA player to surpass the 20,000 mark, establishing a new record of 20,880 career points, a record that should have held up for many years to come. If it wasn't for this guy, one of the greatest scorers to ever play the game and a player that would redefine basketball, Wilt was such an unstoppable scorer that he not only shattered the all-time record, but he did it in just 7 seasons. And once Wilt obliterated the previous record, he would spend the next 7 seasons piling up a scoring total that was almost inconceivable at the time. The first player in NBA history to pass the 30,000
Wie viele Regeln mussten geändert werden wegen dem Boy?
Ich weiß es nicht mehr genau, aber guckt euch das Video, was wir dazu gemacht haben, an, oder worauf wir reacted haben, ist auch sehr, sehr interessant. Wilt war einfach Maschine. Maschine. Der Big Dipper.
His career with 31,419 points in 1974. By the time Wilt retired, there wasn't a player within 5,000 points of him. His record safe for many, many years to come. It wasn't until a decade later that Kareem Abdul-Jabbar set a new all-time scoring record in 1984 with this skyhook. And through unwavering consistency and a 20-year-long NBA career, Kareem would take the scoring record to a place that no one ever thought it could go.
Ja, das Skyhook ist halt auch einfach ein Cheatcode gewesen.
Kareem would score the final regular season points of his career, bringing the all-time scoring record to 38,387. Reporters, players, and coaches at the time, and ever since, calling the record indestructible, safe from being touched or disturbed for as long as the game existed. It would take a nearly perfect player, designed to play the game at the highest level with ultra-elite scoring ability, unmatched consistency, and a career that spans across decades. He would have to stay healthy and avoid the sharp decline late in his career that every athlete inevitably faces. It couldn't possibly happen. In theory, this record could be broken, but in reality, this player just didn't exist. And then LeBron James showed up and changed all of that. Combine a generational scoring talent with the size and strength of an ox, the speed of a point guard, and the mind of a basketball savant, and tireless discipline matched with a love for the game to continue to push and climb 20 years into his career. And we have found that player. LeBron James has officially become the NBA's all-time leading scorer. But long before LeBron's inevitable climb as the NBA's all-time leading scorer, he was just another young talent with a whole lot to prove. The only thing standing between him and basketball immortality was
diesen Soundtrack voll geil im Hintergrund.
Ja,
points.
stimmt.
This kid's pretty good.
6 from the field. James overdone. Oh, a shot from LeBron James. Oh my!
This was the first time I had ever watched LeBron live. I was just a kid, and I faintly remember hearing the name LeBron James in the years leading up to this moment. The hype, everyone talking about him, he was in commercials and on billboards. But this was my first memory of him actually playing basketball. It was quite the first impression, and immediately I knew this was my guy. I was officially a fan of the NBA and a fan of LeBron James. And this poster on Tim Duncan was the 6,329th point of LeBron's career. The idea of him one day breaking the all-time scoring record was not even on the table yet. That wouldn't happen until a decade later.
Geile Zeit.
Alter.
Around 2017, the idea of LeBron one day becoming the all-time leader in points began to float around. It wasn't a matter of if he would break the record, but when. The earliest instance I could find of LeBron being mentioned for the all-time scoring record was in an article by John Hollinger all the way back in 2009. In this article, John used a formula to try and predict when NBA records could possibly be broken and who might break them. And 14 years ago, the most likely candidates to break Kareem's record were Kobe Bryant, LeBron James, and Carmelo Anthony. Another article was written by Adam Formal in 2015, which had multiple projections and calculations on when LeBron could break the all-time scoring record. And with scary accuracy, each model predicted that LeBron would break the record sometime in 2023. This model in particular...
Damals noch Jahrzehnte weg.
Wow.
Da hat noch niemand drüber nachgedacht.
Aber es ist ja crazy, wie akkurat die das dann entsprechend schon hochkalkuliert haben. Und die sind ja verdammt nochmal halt, ne? Einfach komplett dran so gewesen.
Narrowed down the date to sometime in early 2023. But if you look at the trajectory of LeBron's career, we should have saw this coming long before we crunched the numbers. Because LeBron was the youngest player in NBA history to reach 1,000 career points, surpassing the point total just 41 days after his 19th birthday. LeBron was also the youngest player to reach 2,000 career points, and 3,000 career points, and 4,000, and 5,000, and every single career point milestone all the way up to his record-breaking total. LeBron's path to scoring the most points in NBA history was set into place the moment he stepped onto an NBA court. Now, is this scoring record a testament to LeBron's dominance and sheer ability, or is this record a demonstration of longevity? Or is it both? In the NBA, 20 points per game has been the standard for a good or possibly even great score, depending on what era that player played in. 20 points a game may not sound like much these days, but the list of great players to average 20 throughout their careers include Dirk Nowitzki, Paul George, Tracy McGrady, Kawhi Leonard, Paul Pierce, and DeMarcus Cousins. In fact, of the thousands of players who've laced up in the NBA, only 74 have a career average of at least 20 points per game. Now, if a player averages 20 points per game, and let's say they play at least 72 games a season for every season of their career, how long do you think it would take that player to even touch LeBron's record? 22 seasons? Maybe 24 seasons? No. A player averaging 20 points per game every year while only missing 10 games a season would reach LeBron's scoring total somewhere towards the end of his 26th season in the NBA. But that's what it would take to reach LeBron's current record. The man is still one of the league's leading scorers with no signs of slowing down. This scoring record is not just some feat demonstrating how long LeBron has been playing in the league. It's evidence of his absolute dominance on the game for 2 decades.
Ja, aber es ist schon auch der medizinische Fortschritt einfach.
Ja, das auch so ein... Also, das kann man ja nicht denyen. Dass er, wie viel, 1,5 oder 2 Millionen gibt er pro Jahr für seinen Körper aus.
Und diese Aussage soll jetzt null irgendwie gegen LeBron sein und so, ne? Der Typ auch, wenn er in Wills hier Zeit gewesen wäre und trotzdem, der hätte rasiert dominiert und so, aber das ist halt auch noch ein entscheidender Faktor, weshalb es gerade heute so doll ist. Ne?
Ja, also das ist ja früher, ne, haben wir ja auch schon öfter mitgekriegt, sind die halt mit normalen Flugzeugen geflogen. Jetzt jedes Team hat Privatjet, jedes Team hat Masseure, Physiotherapeuten und.
Auf besagten Privatjets.
Ja, früher haben die in Chuck Taylors gespielt und nicht in gefederten Nikes oder sowas.
Die ihre Namen tragen.
Ja, richtig. Ja, in irgendwelchen. Wunder, dass sie nicht in Flipflops gespielt haben.
Der eine oder andere.
Oder barfuß.
And play the game longer than anyone in NBA history ever has. And yeah, sure, they could break this new scoring record. Because the volume of LeBron's scoring is just as impressive as the persistence of his scoring. Are y'all familiar with Pistons center Jalen Duren? Young guy, solid player. He hasn't done anything notable in his NBA career yet, except he is the first, and currently the only player in the league that is younger than LeBron's NBA career. LeBron made his NBA debut on October 29th, 2003. Jalen Duren was born November 18th, 2003. LeBron has been getting NBA buckets for longer than this NBA player has been on this earth. This isn't just longevity. This is superhuman. In fact, the last time LeBron failed to score double digits in a regular season game was all the way back in 2007. His famous streak of double-digit scoring now at 1,140 games, which just sounds like an impossibly long.
Das war ja auch, das war in der Bubble, glaube ich, ne? Da dachten alle, oh scheiße, jetzt ist der Streak vorbei, wo er sich verletzt hat. Ist aufs Feld gekommen, hat einen Dreier geworfen, hat den reingemacht, hat 10 Punkte gehabt, ist vom Feld gegangen, Spiel vorbei für ihn. Einfach nur, um dieses Streak aufrechtzuerhalten, ey.
Number. But to really grasp just how long LeBron's been on this streak, here's a chart of the longest current double-digit streaks in the NBA. Here's LeBron all the way at the top with 1,140, and let's work our way down until we find the next longest active streak. It's not in the thousands, it's not nearly 800 or 700, still not even close at 500. Keep going. With an active streak of 109 consecutive games, Joel Embiid has the second longest streak of games.
Joel, der ist ständig verletzt, der Junge.
Ja, aber es geht ja nicht darum.
Ja, ich weiß, trotzdem. Das ist so ein inkonsistenter Spieler, das meine ich damit.
Yeah.
Weil, auch wenn du verletzt bist und wiederkommst, ne, bist ja nicht immer gleich wieder auf 100% Leistungsfähigkeit.
Dass Kevin Durant nur so wenig hat, wundert mich halt.
Ja, und dass Stephen hier gar nicht zu sehen ist auch, aber ist halt auch ständig irgendwie am Arsch.
At his current pace, and if LeBron's streak ended today, Embiid could break LeBron's consecutive double-digit scoring record sometime during the 2041 NBA season. And I think we can add this to the list of records that will never be touched for the rest of time. So with LeBron breaking the once unbreakable record, what will his new record end up being when it's all said and done? LeBron has said on multiple occasions that he wants to and feels capable of playing into his early 40s. He's also said that he wants to play with his son in the NBA and that his ultimate goal is to win a championship with his son. Which gives
wenn er das macht, ich schwöre es dir, wenn er das macht, Bruder, also ganz ehrlich, was, so, imagine, ne, sein Sohn hat, glaube ich, jetzt noch 2 Jahre. Ich glaube, dann darf er getradet werden, dann darf er gepickt werden. Imagine, er geht Rookie Season, ne? Ich glaube auch, dass er seine Contracts so legt, ne? Okay, Bronny wird dann gedraftet, dann gehe ich dann halt da. Der wird irgendwo hin gedraftet, er geht dahin und die gewinnen halt den Titel. Das kannst du dir ja nicht ausmalen, was dann los ist.
Und ich würde es ihm gönnen, also wirklich jetzt. Wenn einem, dann ihm.
Gives us a rough timeline of his last years in the league. Next season will be Bronny's freshman year in college, and he'll more than likely have to play at least 2 years of college ball before he has a real shot of making it to the NBA. So that means Bronny's first season in the league will be the 2025-2026 season, which puts LeBron's final season as roughly the 2026-2027 NBA season. Now,
this bitch go nowhere. Ich glaube auch, es ist wie bei Tom Brady.
Ja, genau. Der hört auf. Oder halt wie bei MJ, ne? Und hört auf. Golf ist doch ungeil. Und dann, oder Baseball. Kommt doch nochmal Basketball. Ja, let's go. Und er rundet locker bis auf mindestens 20, 30 auf. Wegen dem Juju schon. Das ist eine schöne Zahl.
Ich wollte es gerade sagen, ich glaube auch, dass er so ein Fanatiker ist. Das sagen wir mal, er hat jetzt 2027 hat er 44.500 Punkte. Der hängt eine Season dran, macht die 500 Punkte voll, 45.000. Leck mir am Arsch, ich bin raus.
Irgendwie sowas wird sein, ob es jetzt auf Punkte geht, auf Jahreszahl oder was weiß ich.
Der rundet das Ding ab.
Now time for the hard part. How many points will LeBron average throughout his last 4 seasons in the league? Well, here is the overall trajectory of his points per game over the last 20 years. And as you can see from the data, LeBron is a statistical anomaly. Not only has he been impossibly consistent for 20 seasons, but over the last 2 seasons, his scoring average has actually increased, which just confirms my suspicions that he was in fact made in a lab. But these numbers don't tell the whole story, because in order to average these numbers, LeBron has had to fight off injuries and fatigue in recent years, which makes the trajectory of his total points each season look like this. His aging becoming a bit clearer from this perspective. This current season has been a bit of an outlier since he's been chasing the all-time scoring record, but if we take the information we have and try our best to factor in the variables that will dictate the next few years of his career, injuries, fatigue, and aging, then by his last season, LeBron will end up somewhere around here. Finishing his career averaging about 24
Und die
points per game in
45
his
macht er halt
final
auch.
season and
45
adding
glaube ich auch.
another 6,740 points to his existing record of 38,411, which brings his total career points to 45,151. And we can
Können wir uns das Video auf hier Remember setzen und dann nochmal
If Kareem's
angucken?
previous record was nearly impossible to break, then I can say with 100% certainty, without a shadow of a doubt, that we will never see anyone break LeBron's scoring record in our lifetime. I mean, this total is so massive, it almost doesn't even make sense. Excluding LeBron, there's only been 7 players in NBA history who have even passed
Carmelo, ja,
30,000 career points.
Geil.
Among active players,
Nur
Kevin Durant is
Legenden.
the closest to LeBron's scoring total. And after 15 of some of the most prolific scoring seasons we've ever seen, Kevin Durant is still nearly 12,000 points behind LeBron. Which
Die hat genau
means
das
that
gleiche
if
Problem, der ist
LeBron
ständig
James
verletzt.
retired today at Durant's current pace, averaging about 27 points per game, playing 55 games a season, even if he maintained this level of production, it would take Durant 8 more seasons until the ripe age of 42 before he even catches up to LeBron's current career point total. Keep
Was
going
mit
down the
Luka?
list of active NBA players with the most career points,
Ja,
and
das hast
there's
du.
no one even close to being on track to beat this record. James Harden's already 33 years old, Westbrook is 34, Chris Paul is 37, DeRozan's
Die einfach
33,
schon
Steph
sind,
is
ne?
about to be
Ja.
35, Damian Lillard's got the most interesting path
Glaube
here.
mir, die hören alle von LeBron auf.
Vielleicht nicht alle auf der Liste, aber ein paar.
But even he's 32 years old and about 10,000 points behind LeBron at this point in his career. The first player on this list that is still on the upslope of his career is Giannis. But because of his slow start when he entered the league, he is about 6,000 points off pace from where LeBron was at this point in his career. So it's
Aber
clear that a
der
player
hat
who will
zumindest
even
irgendwie
have
noch
a shot
Potenzial,
at breaking LeBron's
Top 3 zu
all-time
werden, der
scoring
Boy.
record is not on this side of the leaderboard. So let's take a different angle here. What about the young guys? With the increase of pace and offensive output the NBA has seen over the last few seasons, are there any young stars who are on pace to catching LeBron in the future? After 5 NBA seasons, LeBron James had already surpassed the
Imagine, es wird
10,000
einfach
career
Luka,
point
ein
threshold,
Weißer.
finishing his 5th NBA season
Damit wir wieder, weißt du, das ist der Circle.
Ja,
So, mit einem Weißen angefangen und es kommt mit dem Weißen wieder.
with 10,689 total career points on 27.3 points per game. And among the most prolific scoring young players in the NBA, these 7 are the only players that
What did
are
I
even
say?
remotely close to a young LeBron. Morant, Giannis, Booker, Mitchell, Trey, Embiid, and Luka. At the moment, Luka Doncic is the only player in the entire NBA who has a higher career point per game average than LeBron James, and Joel Embiid being just slightly behind LeBron's point per game average. Now, if we chart each player's point trajectory, then we get something like this. And immediately it becomes clear that even amongst the best young players in the NBA, no one really even comes close. But instead of looking at these scoring totals through the lens of seasons and games played, what if we looked at their age? LeBron joined the NBA as an 18-year-old, giving himself a head start on most other players. If we graph these point totals based on age, then the gap between LeBron and everyone else gets even bigger. Because the reality is that there is no one in the NBA who even has a remote chance of beating LeBron's all-time scoring record. To find that player, we would have to jump into a time machine and travel into the future. If a player wants even a chance at touching this record, he will have to enter the league as a polished superstar. No time to waste developing his skills or learning the ins and outs of the league.
Und ich
He'll
glaube
need to
halt,
be
das
one
wird
of the most
schwerer.
productive
Ja.
scorers.
Weil
Das
die
auch.
einfach gleich gut sind. Ne? Also das war halt noch so eine Zeit, wo du echt als Diamant heftig krass alle outshadowen konntest. Aber
Mhm.
jetzt sind die, glaube ich, alle, weil ja alle so ein geiles Training kriegen, moderne Facilities,
Ja.
dies, das, jenes, auf einem gleichen Niveau oder gleicheren Niveau. Und
Ja.
dadurch machen sie es gegenseitig auch schwieriger zu scoren. Also,
Und es ist halt auch so, wenn ich das noch richtig im Kopf habe, dass du auch gar nicht mehr so früh in den Draft darfst. Du darfst, glaube ich, nicht mehr von Highschool direkt rein. Ich weiß, dass du noch College One and Done machen darfst, aber glaube ich auch nur, wenn du ein bestimmtes Alter hast.
okay.
Bin mir auch nicht mehr sicher, aber so früh wie damals darfst du halt nicht mehr rein. So wie Kobe Bryant. Ich bin 18, ich gehe in die NBA. Oder LeBron, ich bin 18, scheiß auf College. Geht halt jetzt nicht mehr.
Deckel drauf, dann kannst du es vergessen.
Talking 28, 29 points per game every year for over 2 decades without missing a beat. And in a league that doesn't really care about the regular season, he'll have to go against the grain and suit up nearly every single game while avoiding injuries for over 20 years. So, if I'm being honest, I don't think a time machine will help us here. Because by the time he retires, LeBron's scoring record will be so absurd that no one will ever be able to break it. Hope you all enjoyed. And as always, until next time.
Still not as much Ringe wie MJ.
There's no pressure. There's no pressure at all. I've been getting pressure since I was 10 years old. I don't think there's no pressure for me because I'm doing something that I love to do.
Ist halt auch dieses Legenden-Mindset.
Ja. Ja, was glaubt ihr? Wird es irgendwann. Ich glaube nicht. Ich glaube, das wird niemals funktionieren.
Extrem unwahrscheinlich. Blöderweise hat man das ja wahrscheinlich bei vielen irgendwie gesagt, ne?
Klar.
Aber da ist es halt echt schon wild.
Wer hätte gedacht, dass Steph Curry, weißt du, als Ray Allen den 3-Punkte-Rekord eingestellt hat, ne? Wer hätte gesagt, dass irgendwann Steph Curry kommt und sagt, ey, ich habe das greenste Light, was es auf diesem Planeten gibt. Es gibt für mich keine schlechten Würfe. Die Dinger und einfach alles reinmacht. Das kannst du nicht ausdenken.
Ja.
Naja. In dem Sinne, ich hoffe, es hat euch gefallen. Haut rein, bis zum nächsten Mal. Lasst es euch gut gehen. Ciao, ciao.